The Storm Whale by Benjie Davies. Noy lived with his dad and 6 cats by the sea. Every day, Noy's dad left early for a long day's work on his fishing boat. He wouldn't be home again till dark. One night, a great storm had raged around their house. In the morning, Noy went down to the beach to see what had been left behind. As he walked along the shore, he spotted something in the distance. As he got closer, Noy could not believe his eyes. It was a little whale washed up on the sand. Noy wondered what he should do. He knew that it wasn't good for a whale to be out of the water. "I must be quick," he thought. Noy did everything he could to make the whale feel at home. He told stories about life on the island. The whale was an excellent listener. The night was drawing in and it was growing dark. Noy was worried that his dad would be angry about having a whale in the bath. Somehow, Noy kept his secret safe all evening. He even managed to sneak some supper for his whale. But he knew it couldn't last. Noy's dad wasn't angry. He had been so busy he hadn't noticed that Noy was lonely. But he said they must take the whale back to the sea where it belonged. Noy knew that it was the right thing to do, but it was hard to say goodbye. He was glad that his dad was there with him. Noy often thought about the storm whale. He hoped that one day, soon, he would see his friend again. The Storm Whale in Winter by Benjie Davies. Noy lived with his dad and 6 cats by the sea. Last summer, Noy rescued a little whale after a storm washed it ashore. He and his dad took it back to the sea where it belonged. But Noy could not forget his friend. Now and then, he thought he caught a glimpse of the whale, its tail tipping the waves in the distance. But it was always something else. Winter was setting in, and all around the island, the sea slowly filled with ice. Noy's dad took one last trip in his fishing boat. But when darkness fell that evening, his dad was still not home, and Noy began to worry. Noy watched and waited and watched. Suddenly, he saw something out at sea. It was his dad. It had to be. He counted all 6 cats safe inside and dashed down to the shore. Noy dragged his boat to the water's edge, but the sea was frozen hard. "I must be careful," he thought, stepping on to the thick ice. The further Noy went, the harder the snow fell, until everywhere looked the same. Noy was lost. Then up ahead, he saw a gray shape flickering in the lamplight. It was his dad's boat stuck in the ice. Noy quickly clambered aboard. "Dad?" Noy called, but his voice echoed. The boat was empty. Noy didn't know what to do. As he curled up tight, he imagined the deep sea swirling beneath him, and he began to feel afraid. Then, through the darkness, the boat went bump. It was the storm whale. The whole family had come to help Noy. The whales pushed their noses into the cold night air. They sang through puffs of steam and spray as the ice cracked and crunched. Somehow, they knew where to go. The little boat thumped hard against the rocks. "Dad!" cried Noi. Noi, what are you doing here? Said his dad. I just had to find you, said Noi. As winter turned slowly to spring, they often spoke of that cold, icy night. The night the fisherman had rescued Dad, and the storm whale had rescued Noi, and Noi would smile, because it was the night his friend came back. The Wolf Who Learned to Be Good by Natalia Moore. In a lonely wood, there lived a wolf, a rather naughty wolf. Everyone knows wolves are very big and very bad. They just can't help themselves. But Wolf was not like other wolves. He actually wanted to be good. Being well behaved was not easy for a wicked wolf. He tried and he tried, but nothing worked. It was quite lonely being a big bad wolf. What happens if I never ever make a friend of my very own? The wolf grumbled. What's the matter? Asked the little girl in a pink beret. She smelled of honey and cinnamon. I want to have a friend to play with, sobbed the wolf. He opened his eyes and saw the little girl. She looked delicious. Wolf couldn't help but think of all the wicked ways he could gobble her up. Fry her with onions and a dash of oil? Boil her in a delicious broth? Bake her in a cake? The wolf's mouth watered with hunger. The girl had other ideas. She opened up her bag of wonders and got to work on Wolf. She gave him a makeover to cheer him up. She braided his hair so he wouldn't look so scruffy. Wolf was having so much fun that he totally forgot he had planned to gobble the girl up in one go. Then she took some cookies from her bag. Give them to me, snapped the wolf, and he devoured every last one. Get me a drink, he demanded and licked his chops. Do you want to play school? She asked politely. No, we have to play my games, he boomed. Then I'll play on my own, said the girl glumly. Friends? Who needs them? I can have fun all by myself, said Wolf. But it wasn't fun. It was boring. Wolf turned an odd shape of red. He had a rather strange feeling, a guilty feeling. He plodded over to the girl and tapped her on her shoulder. Sorry, he said sheepishly. The girl gave him a big hug and they played with her toys. She even let Wolf play with Mr. Fudge, her most favorite toy. It was getting late and the girl needed to go home, so she picked up her bag and put Mr. Fudge in her pocket. Wolf took her to the edge of the lonely wood so she didn't have far to go on her own. She gave Wolf a big squeeze and waved goodbye. In a lonely wood, there lives a wolf, a rather good wolf, a rather good wolf who made a friend, a wolf who is good most of the time. My Lucky Day by Keiko Kasza. One day, a hungry fox was preparing to hunt for his dinner. As he polished his claws, he was startled by a knock at the door. Hey, Rabbit! Someone yelled outside. Are you home? Rabbit, thought the fox. If there were any rabbits in here, I'd have eaten them for breakfast. When the fox opened the door, there stood a delicious-looking piglet. Oh no! Screamed the piglet. Oh yes, cried the fox. You've come to the right place. He grabbed the piglet and hauled him inside. This must be my lucky day, the fox shouted. How often does dinner come knocking on the door? The piglet kicked and squealed. Let me go! Let me go! Sorry, pal, said the fox. This isn't just any dinner. It's a pig roast, my favorite. Now get into this roasting pan. It was useless to struggle. All right, sighed the piglet. I will. But there is just one thing. What? Growled the fox. Well, I am a pig, you know. I'm filthy. Shouldn't you wash me first? Just a thought, Mr. Fox. The fox said to himself. He is filthy. So the fox got busy. He collected twigs. He made a fire. He carried in the water. And finally, he gave the piglet a nice bath. You're a terrific scrubber, said the piglet. There, said the fox. Now you're the cleanest piglet in the county. You stay still now. All right, said the piglet. I will, but... But what? Growled the fox. Well, I am a very small piglet, you know. Shouldn't you fatten me up to get more meat? Just a thought, Mr. Fox. The fox said to himself. He is on the small side. So the fox got busy. He picked tomatoes. He made spaghetti. He baked cookies. And finally, he gave the piglet a nice dinner. You're a terrific cook, said the piglet. There, said the fox. Now you're the fattest piglet in the county, so get into the oven. All right, sighed the piglet. I will, but... What? What? Shouted the fox. Well, I am a hard-working pig, you know. My meat is awfully tough. Shouldn't you massage me first to make a more tender roast? Just a thought, Mr. Fox. The fox said to himself. I do prefer tender meat. So the fox got busy. He pushed and he pulled. He squeezed and he pounded the piglet from head to toe. You give a terrific massage, said the piglet. But the piglet continued. I've been working really hard lately. My back is awfully stiff. Could you push a bit harder, Mr. Fox? A little to the right, please. Yes. No, just a little to the left. Mr. Fox, are you there? But Mr. Fox was no longer listening. He had passed out exhausted. He couldn't lift a finger, let alone a roasting pan. Poor Mr. Fox, sighed the piglet. He has had a busy day. Then the cleanest, fattest, and softest piglet in the county picked up the rest of his cookies and headed for home. What a bath! What a dinner! What a massage! Cried the piglet. This must be my lucky day. When he got home, the piglet relaxed before a warm fire. Let's see, he wondered, looking at his address book. Who shall I visit next? The Children Who Loved Books by Peter Carnavas. Angus and Lucy didn't have very much. They didn't have a television. They didn't have a car. They didn't even have a house. But Angus and Lucy had books, hundreds of them. They were stacked here and piled there, balanced and propped in all kinds of odd places. Books cluttered every corner of their home. Their home could take no more. The books had to go. But things were not the same. Bowls slid off the table. Angus couldn't reach the window. And because there was more space in their home, there was a lot more space between them all. Then one afternoon, something tumbled from Lucy's school bag. "What's this?" said Dad. "A book," Lucy answered. "From where?" asked Mom. "The library," Lucy replied. Mom and Dad looked at the book. They opened it. Dad read the first sentence aloud, then the second. The children moved closer as Dad turned the page and read on. The light faded and the family moved inside, Dad reading all the way. They huddled beside the lamp and listened to the story. That night, as darkness fell upon the town, one small home shone brighter than any other. The next day, as the family yawned their good mornings, they were closer than ever before. With bleary eyes and full hearts, they rode through the clean morning air. Nobody had said a word, but Angus and Lucy knew exactly where they were going. Angus and Lucy didn't have very much, but they had all they would ever need.